Welcome to the lab. Happy Friday to you. Thank you for being here. Always great to have you. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. We got an incredible show for you tonight. And if you follow the interview room, you may have heard of the case that we're going to talk about. But before we start that, let's do a little roll call. And let's just see where everybody is from. Roll call. Oklahoma, Michigan, Ohio. Good to see you. Australia, Florida Gulf Coast, upstate New York, Manlius, I don't know where that is. West Virginia. So you say it's spelled Melbourne, but it's really Melbourne. And that's a fact. That's an absolute fact. West Coast, Florida, New York, or Florida. If you happen to catch any of the podcasts, let's see, a day or so ago, we talked about Florida ad nauseum. It was unbelievable, fantastic, great podcast, family friendly ish, a lot of fun, a lot of good stories, and we mixed in a little bit of current events and true crime and what's going on. Me, my buddy Lucas, and sometimes my son, who helps produce the show. We all have a great time doing it. So if you get the chance, why don't you go ahead and check it out? And thank you. I appreciate that very much. So, there's really, I believe it's only really the interview room that has covered this case, like, the bigger true crime channels around. But it's just a case that I haven't really seen catch on. It's a baffling case. It's a head scratcher, not so much as to what happened, but what is happening, why more is not being done. Local law enforcement, lead investigators, all these things are really bothersome. When you look at the totality of evidence, it's something that I think needs to be covered more. A lot of other cases that we do talk about, sometimes it's too much, or the sensationalism of those cases draws enormous crowds. And even though there's nothing to talk about, for some reason, it's like life goes on, and I don't know. It's just more sensationalism, and when law enforcement is doing their job, we, for some reason, still feel the need to butt our heads in, and that's That seems to be what we're doing. But so here's a case that has just bothered me from day one when I first heard about it. And so let's just go ahead and get into it here. I spent a great deal of time putting this together, and let's just talk about it. So here's my question: with everything that we know about the D. Warner case, how is Dale Warner not in jail? Now, the reason I say that is because the totality of evidence is absolutely overwhelming, to the point of I don't understand how this man has not been charged in this case. Now, Billy Little and Chris McDonough both do a fantastic job of laying out the evidence. They've done it over several series of um, episodes, and they're just very meticulous and detail oriented. It's fantastic because Billy sees everything, from like a courtroom through a courtroom lens, and then Chris sees everything through an investigative in the field lens, and that's how they work with each other. And it's been fantastic what they do. So I wanted to jump in, kind of give my 2 cents about the whole thing, and let's just dive right in because there's a lot of detail. Now, this is going to be a condensed version of uh, their findings, and they are the sources of this information. They've done incredible work on the ground, and we are absolutely appreciative of this. So, for those of you that don't know, Dee Warner disappeared 15 months ago from her home in Michigan. She owned a trucking business with her husband, Dale Warner. Is my audio messed up? I mean, it might be. I don't know. If that's your audio coming with. Is my audio bad? Let's see. Okay, hold on. I can fix this right meow, I think. Test. Test, test, test. Is that any better? Any better at all? Woo! I don't know. I'm guessing. Better. Okay, well, good. It's not like I it's not like I don't have like good equipment. I just, guess it happens. All right, let's just keep going. Dee disappeared 15 months ago from her home in Michigan, and she owned a trucking business with her husband, Dale. Now, Dale is a real peach, and we'll really get into that as this goes along. Now, I want to tell you that as I did the research and went back and re-listened to the interview room, and Billy Little, the investigative attorney that is working on this case, I absolutely think of the Scott Peterson case, the circumstantial evidence in the case, but with much more evidence. All right. So Dale and Dee married in 2006. Billy Little, investigative attorney, and you've all seen him on Chris McDonough's show, The Interview Room, described their relationship as an escalating cycle of violence. And it all comes to a head on the 24th of April, 2021. So this is largely a circumstantial case that they are laying out right now. And the thing about circumstantial cases that I for one, I know everybody wants direct DNA evidence and who knows what will show up or what isn't known. I don't know. But I do know that I love circumstantial evidence. I've always loved circumstantial evidence. And I always will, because I call it common sense evidence. Explain this away. Can you explain this away? One thing you may be able to explain away, but the totality of this is hard to do. In practice, circumstantial evidence can have an advantage over direct evidence in that it can come from multiple sources and that check and reinforce with each other. Eyewitness testimony can be inaccurate at times, and many persons have been convicted on the basis of perjured or, otherwise mistaken testimony. It happens. It's just one of those things. Now, when you think about these cases, and don't get it mistaken that Dee had a bit of an edge to her. She was feisty. She would fight back with Dale. I don't know about physically, but she was kind of tired of taking his crap. Shocking, right? Because Dale is full of crap. And that's just, I don't think that, whether you think that he did this or not, and I would have trouble believing that anybody that watches this program or The Interview Room or read the articles or that are being written about this case, I find it absolutely almost impossible that nobody, and I mean nobody, or sorry, I find it highly unlikely that there's anybody, and I'm sure there's some that don't think that he definitely didn't do something with Dee. It's just the evidence is overwhelming. Now, setting the stage for this story is and always will be domestic violence. Okay. The predominant risk factor for intimate partner homicide is prior physical abuse, particularly physical assaults that have recently escalated in frequency and severity. We have that here. We absolutely have that here. There were problems, arguments, domestic violence. It was told. So here we go. First red flag in this story, a history of domestic violence. And that is just how it is. And this is from The Interview Room. The source is, and witnesses see Dale on top of Dee while she's on the ground. Dee has a bruise described as a large bruise on her hip. Handprint bruises on her arm, like somebody's grabbing her. Goose egg bump on Dee's forehead near her hairline. And Dee tells witnesses that Dale caused the goose egg on her head. So right there, you have already a history of domestic violence. Who knows how many times that those kind of things had happened? Who knows, to be honest. Now you go from domestic violence and stalking go hand in hand. It's just this right now is an absolute cookie cutter scenario of the leading up to of murder or, a attempted murder, physical violence, whatever. But Dale had a tendency to stalk Dee. He was very controlling. He controlled everything that she wanted to do. Dale was observed peering around corners watching Dee, his wife, peering around corners. Dale's iPad was used to record Dee's conversations. He was recording her conversations. He was watching everything that she was doing. Unbelievable. And subsequently, after Dee goes missing, Dale stops tracking her. He tracked her phone. He would track her calls. And as soon as she goes missing, that all stops. All of it. There's no more reason to track her. Why is that? And nearly half of domestic violence goes unreported, according to the crimereport.org. And no police reports were ever filed in these alleged incidents. That's another problem. That's another problem. And the reason for that is when people keep secrets, these kinds of things happen. I know in my own personal life that my family leading up to the murder of my mother, they did not come forward and say anything to anybody else. My grandmother and grandfather were left out of the loop until about a week before the murder took place. So it's one of those things where being quiet doesn't work. It's not good. It is not good. So let's talk about leading up to what happened, leading up to the disappearance. Some very interesting cliff notes here. And like I said, this is an absolute condensed version. So the Tuesday before Dee goes missing, Dee was shopping for a large generator for her business. That shows intent that she's working and putting time and effort into her business, which she was very, very business savvy. I believe hardworking woman. And that Thursday, the jeweler told her her ring worth about $5,000 was ready to be picked up. That's Thursday. And then we jump all the way forward to Saturday. Dee got her eyelashes done, and she scheduled 2 future appointments. In what world does somebody schedule future appointments that knows that they're running off on their family? That we're talking her daughter, her husband, her business. She's giving up everything. But yet she has she wants to get her eyelashes done still. All right. Now, Saturday, Dee was arguing with Dale about the business and this man named Todd. Now, Todd is buddies with Dale. There was an argument about the business. She had been seen crying and throwing up all day. She told everyone she was going to divorce Dale and sell the business. And that right there, folks, is where your motive really starts. Now, we have a history of domestic violence. Dee has said to people that she is being physically abused. She doesn't tell the police, but she tells witnesses, multiple witnesses. But here, right here, folks, when I'm telling you, Saturday, that day, she's arguing with Dale and Todd about the businesses. They're having a dispute. She wants to sell it, and she's done with Dale and all of his BS. She's done with him. Okay. And she tells people, I'm done with you. So about a month before this or so, I believe, before she's going missing, Dale says he's going to kill her. He's going to kill her. Now, once again, in my own personal life, this has happened that it was a week before my dad said that he was going to kill my mom. Nothing really got done. And that's a different story. But it seems as though, my father stalked my mother at his probation hearing, his parole hearing. They asked him, did you stalk your wife? And he would say, no, I didn't stalk her. I spied. The parole board would go, well, what do you mean you spied? He goes, well, it's not stalking, it's spying. I was spying on my wife. And the parole board basically said, look, I'm not here to play word games and semantics. Stalking is stalking. You weren't welcome. You're not, you can't do it. But once again, it just really shows the cookie cutter layout of these type of men. So Dale says Saturday night was the worst fight they had ever had. Wow. Unreal. But then he later changes that story so it wasn't that bad. History revisionist. He wants to clean up what he said. And according to Dale, and by the way, you can, if you want to believe this, feel free. But after the fight, Dale gives Dee a massage on the living room floor. Bless his heart. What a good man. I mean, what a beautiful soul. Oh, we had the worst fight of our lives, folks. We had the worst fight of our lives. Well, it really wasn't that bad. And then I gave her a massage and she fell asleep on the floor. I gave her a massage. Dale says he gives her a massage. I'm guessing Dale's not the masseuse type. That's just my opinion. He says Dee falls asleep and Dale moves her from the floor to the couch. I believe that Dale moves her. I don't think she was asleep, but I do believe that he definitely moves her. But he says that after he gives this incredible massage, probably strong hands from working in the field, he moves her from the floor to the couch. Why he would do that, I don't know. If she is comfortable enough to sleep on the floor, well, why not just leave her, Dale? Then Dale claims that when he left the house at 6 a.m. the following morning, she was asleep on the couch where he had put her after he gave her a massage, after she said that she wanted to divorce him and sell the business, and that they had the worst fight of their life. But it wasn't that bad. Unbelievable. So after Dale gives Dee a massage and she falls asleep on the floor, the next day he finds her $50,000 ring on his desk Sunday morning. Shades of Christopher was it Chris Watts, when he does that whole thing. Oh, I found her ring. She left me. This is the proof that I'm giving you guys that she left me. Her ring. She gave it back. Now, just believe that that should tell you everything. That should just solve this case. Dale is such a victim here. She broke my heart and she left the ring on my desk after we just had a beautiful night of me massaging her until she fell asleep and then me picking her up and putting her on the couch. Well, that doesn't hold much water there. So the lights in the house, the lights in Dale and Dee's home were on from 10:30 to 10:30 p.m. that night to 3:30 a.m. that Sunday morning. Far as I know, farmers, I'm not a farmer, but they tend to go to bed early because they get up early. I doubt that they sleep with all the lights on. It just doesn't seem, but all the lights in the house are on. What's going on in the house? Well, Dale claims that he was home sleeping the night of April 24th until 6 a.m. But cell phone pings showed Dale was not home during the times that he says he is. And Dale had also been heard making remarks such as, "Karma, she got what she had coming, and they'll never find her body. They'll never find her body. And Karma, she got what she had coming to her." Now, Billy puts it perfectly. What did she have coming for her? Or what did she have coming? And what do you mean they'll never find her body? Do you mean that she just disappeared and they'll never find her body? Because nobody has seen Dee in 15 months. Not one witness anywhere has come forward and said that they've seen her. So the story that he's laying out is just that. It's just a story. There's so many things that are wrong here. When asked where his wife was, Dale claims that she ran off to Mexico or Jamaica, just like Larry Miliete said. You know, "Oh, she ran off on me. She ran off on me." Okay. Well, wives do run off on husbands and husbands run off on wives. I mean, it's not necessarily a new thing at all, but it's got to make sense. It's got to make sense. So here's the meat and potatoes here. The Monday after Dee goes missing, Dale goes lawyer shopping. Why would you need a lawyer the day after your wife has been reported missing? And not by you either. And we'll get into that as well. But he changes the passwords to the security cameras. He has a secret meeting to have the codes on the cameras. He's trying to figure out how to change the password. And here's the things to note. There are no large withdrawals before the disappearance. No withdrawals, big or small, after the disappearance. So one of the things that investigators look at is credit card activity, cell phone activity. What vehicle did they take? And I got the four corners of red flags up here because it's red flagged everywhere. Now, I'm not a private investigator. I'm not a homicide detective. I'm not a police officer. But you don't have to be any of that to know which way the wind blows here. And if I was if I was the DA in that county, Dale would be in handcuffs while we tidied everything up, or at least charged. He can bail if he wants, which is crazy, but So no credit card activity after the disappearance whatsoever. None. No credit card activity at all. No cell phone activity. And her watch was dead as well. The phone and the watch, both dead. There was never any confirmation of her ever crossing a border, i.e. Mexico or Jamaica, where Dale claims that she ran off to with no money. Dee was not seen leaving the property on the surveillance, and she certainly would have been on surveillance. Why is Dale not charged in the disappearance of his wife? Not to mention there's a little girl involved that wasn't home at the time, but by the way, he never checks on the young daughter, doesn't go pick her up. Nothing. So apparently he wants everybody to believe that she left her business behind, that she has left her child behind, her $50,000 wedding ring, her vehicle. So when cops show up and they're, asking about fingerprints and on if you want a better explanation for this, it was, he would open his iPad with a thumbprint. They wanted to, let's get some fingerprints here. Dale claims his fingerprints were burned off by fertilizer. How convenient. And I've heard of this before in other cases. Seems painful. And I don't know if he did this necessarily on purpose. This is a great question. I believe Dale does. Yes. Now, what I just find absolutely ridiculous is this right here, the fingerprints that were burned off. Dee's Apple, her Apple phone and watch, both disappear, gone, boom, along with Dee is gone too. And now Dale's fingerprints are gone. A lot of stuff's going missing around here. A lot of crucial stuff, folks. Come on. How is he not in jail? How is he not in jail? There was cash found in Dee's work desk drawer on April 25th. So she went to Jamaica or Mexico or wherever he's claiming she's at now with no money. And while the cops are searching after the initial search, after 1 hour, he revokes consent to search on the property. He says, "You're wasting my time. Get off my property." Wasting the time. They're looking for his wife. And yet he wants him off the property. You're wasting my time. Another major red flag in this is that Dale's not the one that even reports his wife missing to the police. No, it was family, her family. She was supposed to be there on Sunday. They had something planned. And of course, she doesn't show up. Everybody wants to know where she is because She seems to be a meticulous woman who wanted to be with her family that day. It's just amazing to me. This is so bothersome, people. And what is law enforcement doing about this? You know, I'm pro law enforcement. I appreciate all the hard work they do. But sometimes you got to call a spade. And right now I'm calling this what it is. They seem to have no interest in solving this case. Billy calls with evidence telling them, look, guys, I have this and that and this and that. And they say, it's the weekend. We'll get back to you Monday. What? Last time I checked that you work homicides whenever they happen. People get called out 3 a.m. Dale refuses to take a polygraph test. By the way, this is actually a smart move on his part because he knows that it probably won't go well for him, and it's just more stuff stacked against him. I get it. They're not admissible in court. I've heard that before. But, you know, how often does that? Dylan Redwine's father went on the Dr. Phil show and refused to take a polygraph. A few years down the road, he was indicted and subsequently found guilty of murdering his son. So that makes sense why he wouldn't take a polygraph. I probably wouldn't either. Who else didn't take a polygraph? Scott Peterson didn't take a polygraph. Is that surprising to anybody? And since Dee went missing, Dale has transferred all of his bad debt under Dee's old company with a forged power of attorney. Wow. And then they hire an accountant who just so happens to be he had been in trouble for embezzlement, and yeah, he's a criminal as well. Dale hires him to take over the books. And the big question here is, why hasn't Dale been charged? And that is the question that law enforcement, the district's attorney or the district attorney, the sheriff's office, the state police, they've got to answer this question. They have to answer this question. This man has obviously harmed his wife. Just look at his statements. Karma, she got what she had coming. People heard him say this. They'll never find her body. I mean, his lights are on all night. Just prior to Dee going missing, Dale says he's going to kill her. He says she's in Mexico. What? And that just can't be true. That just cannot be true. He's a liar. And the lead detective should be recuse himself from this case or be fired one way or the other. The answers are there. And there is also his buddy Todd is on tape saying all kinds of incriminating stuff. Head over to the interview room and watch the, I believe it was last week's or the week before's episode about this, and you can hear it all there. There's more incriminating evidence. This lady did not run off on her daughter. This lady D, and I say this lady, sorry, I'll say her name. D Warner did not run off on her daughter. She didn't forfeit her business. Dale let her car get impounded. She's not coming back. Why does she need a car? Don't search my property. You're wasting my time. We have a history of domestic violence. Dale is a hothead who threatens people. And who knows how else they are intertwined. I don't know, with others. There's got to be other people involved. And I would hope that people start rolling on Dale, but it already seems like there's plenty. This, to me, rises to the threshold of charging him. Like I said, I'm not a law professor or anything like that. But like I said, you don't have to be here. There's a lot of cases where I don't know why. And I don't understand why. And I know that there's a lot of technical reasons for a lot of things. This isn't one of them. This case is a travesty. This case has gone on for 15 months, and Billy Little and Chris McDonough have gift wrapped this entire investigation to the local law enforcement there, and they don't care. And they're not happy that they're receiving bad press because they haven't done what they're supposed to do. They've only had 15 months. They don't seem too interested in solving this case. Why is that? Why is that? D deserves more. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do believe in small town good old boys clubs. I truly do. And I don't know if this is that case, but it very well could be. Dale just may be one of them good old boys that, he's one of he's just, his feet are planted in that town. People know him. But I don't know how all of this can be ignored. Matter of fact, I'm exhausted from looking at this stuff. I've been working on this for 2 days, and I've listened to Chris and Billy's shows. And then when I compiled my condensed version of what I have shown you, it's unbelievable when you look at it on paper and you go point by point, step by step. You see the puzzle that was put together by Billy and Chris. The history of domestic violence. This sets the stage. Okay. Go talk to those witnesses. They're telling you that this happened. Witnesses see Dale on top. People watch. They saw it with their own eyes. And they did nothing. They did nothing. Dee had a bruise described as large on her hip, handprints on her arm, goose egg on her head. Lab, what are the pieces in the puzzle? Well, you start prior to it, like I said, a history of domestic violence. There's the first puzzle piece. People witnessing it. Dale stalking. This is all leading up. This is all leading up. Nearly half of domestic violence goes unreported. Missing pieces, honestly, I mean, obviously you want to find the body. And hopefully that they're putting this case together, but it just doesn't seem like that from the reaction that they've got. There's a petition. Maybe a mod could find and post a link. If that is possible, sure, that would be fantastic. This man needs to be arrested. But even if you just go back here, folks, and just take a look, leading up to her disappearance, who buys a large generator for their business knowing on Sunday morning they're taking off? We're not stupid. She's got her ring ready to go. The jeweler says it's ready, $5,000. It's an expensive ring. She makes future appointments for with the beautician. One right after the other. That's how I do it too. I say, here, I get a haircut now. Put me on the schedule next week. Saturday, that day, she was seen arguing with Dale. About the business. And Todd, the hooker guy. Dale loves hookers. Joyce says right here she would take her daughter with her. Absolutely. I'm sure that was her entire plan. She wanted to leave Dale. And what is the most dangerous time in an abusive relationship? The most dangerous time is when they want to leave. This story is not about me, but my mother had also told my father that she was leaving. All the same characteristics, and leading up, the domestic violence, which my father considered mutual combat. He stalked her. He abused her. He did all those things. And she said, I've had enough. Dee and my mother both said the same exact thing. And my father and Dale handled it close to the same way. Now, once again, my father was also had said that he was going to kill my mother previously to it happening. Dale had said that as well. My father's own brother went to the police station to report it, and they told her to keep her porch light on. Now, domestic violence response has changed over the years. That's right. Don't tell anybody. Tell a trusted friend, and that's it. Oh yeah, let's not forget Suzanne and Maya. Let's not forget them. Once again, cookie cutter layout. Here we go again, folks. I got a real problem with the Larrys and the Barrys. Larry and Barry, a couple of dorks, idiots. The Dales. Got a problem with all that kind of stuff. I got a problem with those guys. It's, you know what, Cambridge? It's not. It's not because it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to talk about these kind of people because I'm old enough to speak on it now. The Don Wells of the world, all these abusers who absolutely have no compassion for everybody else. Dale is the only one. He's the only one who won't take a lie detector. Smart move. It does tell you something. Hey, local police, the last person that D was seen with and had been arguing with the night before, and according to him, had the worst argument of their lives. He doesn't want to take a polygraph test. Why is that? Well, because he did it. He killed her. And I think that you can actually Scott Peterson was charged with murdering his wife before they had found her body. It just so happened that her body floated up in the bay where he was fishing. There was not a lot of circumstantial evidence there. This has way more circumstantial evidence. And Scott received the death penalty, which was later overturned to life in prison. Boy, did he luck out. The evidence is overwhelming. I'm sure that there's more. I don't know what, but I'm sure there's more. They fought the night before she went missing, or the night of. Let's go over that one more time because it's baffling. Dale says Saturday night was the worst fight they have ever had. She goes missing the next day, and then he gets a lawyer. He goes lawyer shopping on Monday. It's a busy 3 days for Dale. Dale apparently was working out in the field all day on Sunday. All the lights are on in the house. I love how he later changed that it wasn't that bad of a fight. Dee falls asleep and Dale moves her from the couch or from the floor to the couch, and then he claims that he left at 6 a.m. that morning. That's the last time he ever saw Dee Warner. That's the last time anybody ever saw Dee Warner. He's not where he says he was. Yada, yada. I mean, you just look at it and you can just, yeah. Massage seems a bit, I used a pummel stone on her feet and I gave her a foot rub. And that's kind of the way he was headed. He's absolutely dumb. Just not a good man. He's not a good person. He doesn't want people looking for his wife. The man was offended by the Justice for D movement. And I don't know who did the help Dale find D. It was the help Dale find D. I think they were the billboards, and then somebody, I don't know who it was, but what they did was they said, and help him find his fingerprints. Where is your fingerprints? Why are your fingerprints missing? Oh, your fingerprints are missing. It's not funny, but I mean, it is like it's just a very comical story. No large withdrawals before she leaves. You would think that if she's going to Mexico, she would have some money to cash in for pesos when she gets down to a resort. And, that would be absolutely fantastic if that's where she was. But she's not there. It's a lie. It is a lie. All these women somehow just pack their bags up and float off on this imaginary plane to these imaginary resorts in Jamaica, Mexico, Chile. Her curling iron. Yeah, that whole thing. I mean, the guy's fingerprints were burned off by fertilizer. And I don't even know, I looked at it and I think it takes a little while for that to happen, especially liquid fertilizer. But what are you doing handling liquid fertilizer without gloves? Who does that? Who does that? That's just one of many things that you can focus on. The ring stunt, I mean, take a page straight out of Chris Watts. I'll never forget that. You can watch it live on the body cam footage of the Christopher Watts case. The cop has his body cam on, and what happens is he goes into the bathroom or something, comes out with the ring, and he's like showing everybody. I found her ring. She left her ring, guys. She left her ring. She left me for good. Someone who wants to get rid of a body. Yeah, well, that is true. Circumstantial evidence is solid. It certainly is solid, and especially in the eyes of the law. Did he acid burn his fingerprints? She had the smarts, work, brilliance, and was fantastic mom to 5. What is he? A weak, cowardly monster. And local law enforcement and state law enforcement, I feel that they should be ashamed of that. The system is failing her the same way it has failed others. But this one is so much more obvious. It's sitting right in front of them, and yet they still haven't moved on this man. They haven't. I don't even know if they are considering this a homicide investigation or a mysterious disappearance. I don't even know what they've classified it as. I don't even know if they have a person of interest or a suspect. I don't know what they have. I don't know what they did or what they're currently doing, but it doesn't seem like much. Let's take a look here. I'll read this to you. All right. Okay. Well, let's get rid of that. Private investigator in D. Warner case says money was a motive. Private investigator hired by relatives of missing Deanne Warner appeared in an online broadcast Wednesday evening to lay out some new information he said he has established in the case. The main point came out in a forensic audit of Dee and Dale Warner's business records, and surprise investigative lawyer Billy Little, because He had not thought that the finances were a motive in the case. Little appeared on the Interview Room with Chris McDonough on YouTube and a follow-up to a live stream that they had in May. Little said D. Warner's trucking company, DDW Investments and LLC, had financed $1 million in losses on her husband Dale Warner's agriculture business, and I'm going to throw this in there because he sucks. And that D owned 100% of the trucking company. It was very successful business, Little said. D had been discussing the sale of DDW Investments in 2020. Dale, Little says, used a forged power of attorney from 2014 to transfer the assets of DDW Investments into a new trucking company, DDW Transportation LLC, which, by the way, is highly illegal. Highly illegal. And left the bad debt behind and in the process committed tax evasion. Absolutely. I mean, he could be arrested on tax evasion right now. Dale owned all of DDW Transportation when he did this. Just this month, Dale sold the trucking business to Laidlaw Carriers Bulk. How they let that business be sold, I don't know. Little said the argument Dale and D were engaged in Saturday, April 24th, was about Todd Niernick, a person with whom D had also had an argument that day and who benefited from the sale by being hired by Laidlaw as a finance employee. Golly, they'll hire anybody. That's so weird that a company would do that. I mean, I am kind of shocked that they would do that. Also, new in the case, Little says that between 3 and 4:30 a.m. the following Sunday, Dale was at his father, John Warner's house getting digging equipment, and the chemicals that he burned his fingerprints off or burned off his fingerprints before law enforcement arrived at Dale and Dee's home. How convenient. And Little says that from 10:30 p.m. Saturday, April 24th, 2021 to 3 a.m. Sunday, April 25th, the lights were on at the home. A month prior to Dee's disappearance, according to Little, Dale told people close to Dee that he was going to kill her. Little reports that after Dee's disappearance, Dale said they'll never find her body, and karma, she got what she had coming. And the Monday after the disappearance, Little said Dale went shopping for a criminal defense attorney. Not odd at all. Totally normal. Little had reached out to the attorney and Dale to discuss the case, but they never agreed to, Little said, obviously. I mean, a guy won't even take a polygraph. Dale also called someone to get the password to the couple's security system at their home changed, Little said. At no point over the weekend did Dale check on the couple's now 10-year-old daughter, who has been staying with friends because Dee was going to have a discussion with Dale about leaving the marriage. Don't tell anybody. Just leave. Just leave. Friends of Dee said she had been crying and throwing up all day long. According to Little, Dale arrived home at 7 p.m. that Saturday, and at 7:42 p.m. their child was picked up by a friend. At 8:34 p.m., Dale cleared the property of the last remaining worker. Everybody go, get out of here. At 10:25 p.m., Dee received text from a friend asking how she was. At 10:52, there was a text back from Dee's phone that says, K, how you doing? K. Idiot Dale. And the phone was switched from Wi-Fi to cellular service. And at 2:30, Dee's iPhone and Apple Watch went dead at the exact same time. probably put him in a bag and smashed him up. Little said that he interviewed probably more than 100 people in this case. He said he shared the latest information with law enforcement on Thursday and a Friday, and was told that they would get back to him on Monday. He never heard back, he said. Little compiled a list of questions for law enforcement that the telegram shared with the Lenawee County Sheriff's Office. The telegram had not received a response by Thursday. So it's there for them. It's all there. And they're not interested in hearing this. They must not be interested in solving this case. So the lead investigator needs to recuse themselves from the case, or somebody should fire him, because this is a miscarriage of justice. This man should have been locked up quite some time ago. I don't even know. I'll have to ask. Chris if this is even considered a criminal investigation. I don't even know if it is. I can't believe this man is still free. I think dirty police are involved. I'm from a blue family, so don't jump. I agree. Well, something's got to be going on, because nothing really makes sense here. Lisa Faulkner says, I think Barry took Suzanne's money quicker than Dale did, but Barry did attempt a legal paper trail for what it's worth. Yeah, I think he's like a little bit, I don't know, man. It's like comparing. I don't think any of them are smart for doing what they did. But yeah, I'm not really like I said, I'm not really into the whole law enforcement is corrupt. I'm not into conspiracies like that. But how else do you explain this? You cannot explain this in a proper way. That's the thing. So if they get Dale, and I hope so, they get him on the stand, because this guy will plead not guilty, and then you'll have to basically he'll have to defend every single thing that they throw in front of him. And Linda, thank you so much for gifting those new memberships. It's very, very generous of you. Thank you. But he's going to have to explain all of this, and I don't know how he can do it. I don't see how he could, why he would. It just doesn't make any sense. Such an absolute travesty. Can her family approach the governor about this potentially? I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew those answers. I'm really hoping, I know that Billy and Chris are still on this. They're not going to let it go, and they shouldn't. God bless them. But this is the stuff. I mean, imagine being Dee's family. The one thing that we didn't have to deal with was obviously having to search. We didn't have to do that. Imagine knowing that this man is raising this girl, Dee's daughter. Imagine being Dee's brother. I don't know. I don't understand it. How he is. I mean, I've seen people convicted for way less. The attorney general of that state needs to be contacted. I agree. I agree. I just, I don't know. And he's not even man enough to admit what he's done. You know, he doesn't work with investigators. He doesn't do anything to try and help. I mean, what does he say to, like, what's he say to the daughter? Like, oh, your mom just ran off on you? You believe? Can you believe that is what he's going to force feed this young girl? That his mother ran off? He has grown kids who cannot get the police to investigate their mother's case. Everyone needs to call the AG of the state. I agree. I agree. What floors me the most is when Chris and Billy said Dale made his own son leave the property that night. They still walk amongst us. Barry, I hope you're reading and listening to this. I haven't seen the petition, but there is a petition out there. It's probably putting her mother down on a daily basis. Well, you know, I'm telling you, if it goes to trial, and it will eventually, hopefully, I think it will. They're going to attack her even more. They're going to attack her even more. I believe Billy did ask. I certainly believe he did. Anyway, it's see. I really hope she gets justice. Thanks for being here. Please like and share, subscribe. Get this story out there every day. I'm your host, Joshua Diaz. Thanks.